Today, we're going to talk about hydrating the body on a ketogenic or carnivore diet, and this is everything. What's up, everyone? Welcome to my very humble channel. Now let's get into it. The more consultations I do, the more I interact with the public, y'all are dehydrated. The problem is that most people think that hydration is about just drinking water, but it's not. It's your minerals. It's your magnesium, potassium, sodium, in some cases calcium. These are your minerals to hydrate the body. So you can drink water all day and still be dehydrated. In fact, you can drink too much water and be dehydrated, because when you drink too much water, you can dilute the sodium in your blood, and then the potassium's too high and the cells can't get water in the cell, so you feel dehydrated. Keep drinking water, keep diluting the sodium. So you got to be very careful. There is a finite amount of water you should drink. Definitely finite. A lot of you already know this, that when you do a ketogenic or carnivore diet where you cut out your carbs, you're going to start dumping fluid out of the body via the kidneys. You may not notice, you start peeing a little bit more, and you easily can become dehydrated. Now, I've spoken about this many times, and I've been coaching this over the years, long time. It is the number one problem with ketogenic and carnivore diets. Now, with the carnivore diet, gurus don't like to talk about what's difficult because they don't get the clicks and the views and the when you talk about how things are difficult, people are like, oh, maybe I'm not going to do it. And that's why when people first find my channel, they're like, oh, she's too strict. So they go to somebody else's channel who says like, oh, you can get all your sodium from meat and you don't have to worry about your electrolytes. And then these people start having diarrhea when they're doing carnivore diets, constipation, or a mix between the two, and they never had it before. And one of the biggest reasons is because of chronic dehydration on a carnivore diet. Now, if you're having loose stool, it may not only be from your gallbladder releasing salts. It can also be from constipation, especially when you flip and flop between constipation and loose stool. Your body will loosen the stool as a last ditch attempt to get that poop out, because when you have poop that gets stuck, then toxins are reabsorbed back into the bloodstream, and that's a clusterfuck of a mess. We don't want to do that. So you got to drink water, and you've got to drink water all day. You can't do a liter in the morning and then somehow equate your first of all, most people are not drinking enough water. They say they do, but when I'm sitting and doing my consultations, I do not see this. With me, you do. You don't say that all freaking day. In fact, anybody who is around me knows that I'm searching for my water jugs and bottles everywhere at all times. Now, does that kind of suck? Just a wee bit, because if you don't, you risk the headaches, the cramps, the nausea from not enough potassium or sodium balance. Sodium's too high, potassium gets shoved down when the sodium is too high. And of course, we like to salt everything. So sodium high, potassium low, dehydrated, and you feel like shite. Now, this is a little hack. I don't know why y'all can't find this. It was easy for me to find Celtic sea salt, obviously, on Amazon. But yeah, I got a couple bags of this stuff. And the great thing about Celtic sea salt is that it's got water in it. It's moisture. So there's less sodium per gram or per teaspoon, if I put it in that context, than with the Redmond's Real Salt, which is a rock salt. I hear horses. Or maybe puppies now. So yeah, keep looking for this stuff. It's a great way to go and put some Celtic sea salt, and I've explained this before, either under your tongue, like this, right? And then take a swag of water, or you can put it in the glass. So that's the goopiness on my glass, is me putting Celtic sea salt. Now, you got to be careful because you can over salt your water and push down potassium. And that makes you feel heart palpy and nauseous. Oh, that's the puppy. That's not a horse. Okay, yes. Yes, I have a rescued puppy that was found under my camper when it was 25 degrees outside. And the weirdest thing is, it was in the 70s today. That's Tennessee for you. I want to pull up a video of Barbara. I forget her last name, but she always is saying brilliant. She has brilliant little nuggets, and I want to pull this up as I show you my Celtic sea salt. So let's get into it. Let me pull this up. Bam! It's like her name just went out my head. I know it's Barbara something, but let's watch this video on hydration and the importance of just the water part, although it's minerals and water. Let's do it.
Have the water in the car, have the water by your bed, have the water in the kitchen, have the water in your workplace. Sip, sip, sip. And if you sip, 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 and if at the beginning of every glass you take a crystal of Celtic salt, you won't be running to the little house quite as much. And you can see why, because the water is going to get inside the cell.
That is right.
So it's absolutely essential that we be well hydrated. Keep the heart with all diligence, for out as it are the issues of life. We need to nourish the heart cell.
Let's try this again.
Many are sick purely because of dehydration. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a not negotiable thing. You just got to find out how to get it in. Have the water in the car, have the water by your bed, have the water in the kitchen, have the water in your workplace. Sip, sip, sip. And if you sip, 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 and if at the beginning of every glass you take a crystal of Celtic salt, you won't be running to the little house quite as much. And you can see why, because the water is going to get inside the cell.
Okay. So how does the water get inside the cell? It needs minerals, my people, to get inside the cell. You can't just drink water and do no minerals at all. And then on a hot, sweaty day and on a carnivore or ketogenic diet, think you're going to become hydrated just off the water. Now, that is not going to happen. Like she said, you want to have the water and you want to sip, sip, sip all day long, especially when you drop out your carbs. Because if you don't, and you're consuming more sodium than potassium, you're going to feel like arse on these dietary measures. And there are some people who are like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And then they don't. And then there are people that don't feel amazing at all. So part of having diarrhea is, yes, too much salt, not enough potassium, and you have liquid stool. That's another little hack there a lot of people don't know, is that when you don't balance your potassium and your sodium, you can feel nauseous and diarrhea like easily, like this. Now, water. I'm lucky. I have a well and I have a very nice filter on the well. Didn't need the filter, wanted the filter, got the filter. So this is the best water. But before I got my well, I drank distilled water. In one of my old videos, I'm even showing like the little distiller that I have that looks like it looks like a coffee pot or coffee maker. Takes about 4 hours to fill up a gallon. So I'd buy these glass jars and do it overnight. and fill these glass jars with distilled water. And then you could put a little Celtic sea salt into that water and sip, sip, sip all day long. Because if you're not hydrated on a ketogenic or carnivore diet, and a lot of people don't even feel it sometimes until it just literally gets you. It's like, the cup is up to here where you're dehydrated, but you don't know it because nobody pays attention to these symptoms, or they've always felt bad. So like they just don't notice. Then one drop over and you're feeling really bad. That's when people jump off these diets. They would call it the keto flu or the carnivore flu. Yeah. My biggest problem was I didn't feel bad doing a ketogenic diet for 5 years. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It's fabulous. And then when things went left, they really went downhill. I started developing the nausea, muscle cramps, rib cramps, potassium deficiency in the day. I didn't take magnesium, and I would preach it. This is how dumb I am. That's how I know gurus don't tell you everything. And I wasn't minding my own electrolytes. And then my skin started hyperpigmenting because I was not taking magnesium. And we can't get enough magnesium from our soil or from the animals because the soil is depleted, so are the animals. So unfortunately, that is the only supplement that I recommend on any of these diets, to take magnesium glycinate if you don't have a histamine response to it. But my people, sip, sip, sip water all throughout the day, even in your consultations with me. I want to see you take sips of water. And this is the way that you can hydrate the body, because it takes from 20 to 40 minutes from that sip to hydrate the cells. That's why when you go work out, start sipping water before you hit the gym. I see people slugging water down. You're already dehydrated, and the muscles aren't going to contract properly. Your brain ain't going to be on point. Blood sugars are going to spike. And that's another thing, y'all. When you're dehydrated, the blood sugar goes, poof, ketones go. Recognize the dehydration. At least 2 liters of water a day, depending on your activity levels, the summer, winter, male, female, muscle mass, if you're a big sweater or not, if it's a winter or not. And so between 2 and 3 liters. People who drink a gallon, my people, you drink a gallon, you're going to dilute the sodium in your blood. And that is a problem with potassium, sodium, and you're dehydrated. The more you drink, the more dehydrated you become. So be very, very careful. All right, guys, I am going to announce the date for the challenge in January. I think I'm going to do it January 15th. I'm going to get past all of the holidays between hold on, let me hold up this again. The lovely Celtic, so you guys can take a look. Between, oh, Lord have mercy, between my house build, like today, they just showed up. I was like, this is awesome. Then I have to run to like put up the animals. And now I have a puppy that was found under my camper. I don't have time for it. Then trying to help my mom and then run my business and research. I was like just drowning. So now I've got a couple helpers, thank God, on the challenge. And also I do consultations and run a course. So I have a course. It's a monthly subscription where I cover all 3 diets. And that's a really great course because I put together course lessons where I will write all this out and present it with a video to my members on that page. And I cover the low carb, high fat, keto, omnivore, and carnivore. You can also sign up for a consultation because I got your back. I've been doing this for a while and I feel pretty darn successful. Yes. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I'm 56, soon on my way to 57. Can't wait to turn 60 and show people that you do not need this freaking HRTs and creams and pellets and elixirs. Women and men, take care of your adrenals. And then one of the best ways to take care of your adrenals, stay hydrated, because if you're too stressed, you can also deplete sodium in the bodies. It's a balance. Got to work hard on it. Don't go for the packaged food. And I'm out. Peace. Energy. Whew. Life is good.